All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from in the world. Welcome to our next voice chat and our first voice chat that we're doing on the weekend. So I appreciate you guys who are making it here to learn more about copy trade, to go over some of the strategies, to go over the tools, the profitable wallets, everything that we're going to be going through today. Also, this is an open space for you guys to bring your questions. We see a lot of questions that are coming in the general chat that aren't always being answered to the fullest. The main reason of this voice chat is for these open dialogue questions to come in and actually have a full encompassing answer around these questions. So if you are not getting necessarily the answer that you may like, or you're not getting a complete answer within text through the flood room, it is good for you guys to come here to the voice chat that we've been hosting every day now, for you guys to pick up some information and get a full complete answer towards whatever it is that you had your question to. I can answer your questions over text, but a lot of times, little things will be lost in translation. You may not be able to follow up the same way you would if we're over the voice chat. So I think this is a special place for if you have complex questions or even questions that you just want a more full answer to. This will be a space where you can get those results for your questions that you have. So yesterday we took quite a bit of time to look through the profitable wallets. And I mentioned this is something that we're going to start doing every day now. Reason being is because as you start looking through these profitable wallets, you may pick up some gems as you go through, and there might have been a few gems that you actually looked at that you just didn't consider for whatever reason. You may have thought that it had a flag and you should skip it, or you may have thought that there wasn't enough trading history and you should completely skip it. You might have seen that it's a sniper and said, hey, it's a sniper. There's no value in me working with a sniper, but we also talk about trading strategies for a sniper. People had confusions about scalpers, thinking they couldn't copy scalpers. And we had spoke about that in our last chat, that's farthest from the truth. A lot of people are making very good money by following scalpers. So to come in here and get an idea of what we're looking at every time we're looking at a profitable wallet is going to really help further your progress and make you guys more efficient in your time. And also, the profitable wallets, although we're seeing them come out this way, and we have them in such an organized way where, every day and we're expected to be around 2:30, 3 o'clock my time, so that's EST. So just in a couple hours from now, the new batch of profitable wallets gets dropped. And as the new batch of profitable wallets gets dropped, it's a good idea to look through the ones that are at least unique, meaning they didn't appear in the other days. If you're already caught up on the other days, to look at those wallets. But I'm going to go in and share my screen now so we can take a look at some of these wallets again. We had pretty good success yesterday identifying wallets that looked good, and we also had pretty good success at identifying wallets that didn't look so great, that we didn't need to spend so much time on. And I think having that skill in your back pocket is going to be invaluable, because it doesn't matter where you get your wallet from. If you're getting it from here or you're getting it from DexScreener or another source, the wallets are still going to come out with this same layout that you're seeing here. So they're still going to come out with this exact same layout. So it doesn't matter that we're grabbing it from profitable wallets, or it doesn't matter if we run it through the bot. We're going to see the same layout here. So it makes just as much sense to have rules and be able to look at what you're looking at, regardless if it's from the profitable wallets, like I said, or from Deck Screener, and be able to make sense very quickly if it's something that you want to be following or not. All right. So yesterday we looked at wallets that had very differing results, and I thought that was great because I'm not going to spend so much time on wallets that are just so common that we see all the time. I want wallets that have differing results. So you guys can be able to have an idea of, hey, when I look at a wallet that I really haven't seen wallets with like these same statistics before, or seen wallets that look this way, how do we look at those? So I'm going to start off with this wallet here because it does have, a bit of differing results from what we have been looking at in the past. And we're going to go through them together, and then I'm going to ask you guys what's your opinion on them based on the information we see. And again, as we continue to do these chats, we are going to go quicker. For the first few times that we're looking at wallets together, I'm going to go a little bit slower for you guys, not because I don't feel like all of you guys understand it completely, but I know there can be some new people in here who may have not seen the other video chats and may not know how to go through a wallet as quick. Okay, so the first thing we always have is our visual representation, and our visual representation is the greens, representing the green days where they were in profits, the red representing the red days when they were in loss, and then we have the yellow representing the days when they had broke even or they just didn't trade that day. So corresponding with the bubbles, we always have a data set too. So it's not just the visual representation. We can look down here, and the way it works is the bubble at top always matches up with the first bubble, and that last bubble is always going to match up with the last bubble. So if we know that the last bubble matches up with the last bubble at this loss at 0.1 here, we also know that this bubble right beside it must be this bubble. We know the bubble on top of it must be this bubble here, matching at 6.8. So it's good to get your initial visual representation, but sometimes it can end up being skewed. You could look at something and be like, wow, this has a sea of green, because right now I'm looking at this, and just from the visual representation, I can see that there is a sea of green, and it looks like there's a lot more wins than there are losses. Okay, so then we want to move on to our next stage, and this is an important part to see really what these statistics mean. And yesterday I told you guys that we can pretty much make a decision between just these parts. If you just see these sections that I just highlighted, we can quickly look at this and make a decision. Is this a wallet worth us taking further time to look at, or is it not? Okay, but first we are going to take a look at this section, which is pretty much telling us, how profitable they are likely to be. So we can see the profit was 254 SOL within the course of 30 days, because that's what we have here. We have 30 days monitoring, but within that 30 days, they made 250 SOL. And, that's a very great number of SOL to make. If we can come close to that, even if we can get half of that, if we're going in with our half our entries, that would be, a very good bit to take home from a copy trader. So even though this is a scalper, and people are like, we might not want to follow scalpers at times, we're seeing the scalpers making quite a little bit of money. Okay, let's make sure everything else checks out though. 52% win rate. We went through that. Like, a lot of people are looking for higher win rates. They want 100% win rate. They want 200% win rate, 300% win rate. Those are the wallets that they're looking for. But although a wallet might have, ROI, they want to see a higher ROI, 100, 200, 300% on the ROI. Although the ROI might be something that's lower, this is still a good ROI. This means generally on a trade, they're making about 50%. So that means there's going to be cases where they're making 100% and more. Obviously, there's going to be cases where they're making less. but in general, the average of their ROI works out to be 50%. Okay, so let's move on to the win rate. Our win rate's 76%. So we know that in trading with them 10 times, they're generally winning 7.5 out of those 10 times. So 7.5 out of those 10 times, we should hit that average ROI rate or close to, if all data remain the same. Okay, now we can't look at just the data without looking at the cautions. And the reason the cautions are put here, and it's not just taken out of the data, is because it gives us a full overlooking view of what's actually happening. So we can see that this is how the data looks, but we can also see that there's some cautions to skew it. So didn't buy tokens, we have that at 3%. That's quite low. First trade was a sell. Again, that kind of works out with the buying tokens, but we also have it at a higher amount and a higher percent. But again, it's still fairly low. Sold more tokens than bought. Works out with these statistics, right? When they didn't buy tokens, okay, it makes sense that they sold more tokens than bought. And that works out to be 7%, which again is generally considered pretty low. And there was a snipe that occurred in one of the trades, and it occurred one time, which works out to be 100%. So now moving on, I'm going to go through these quicker, and then I'm going to leave it up for questions so we make best use of our time. We have 170% unique tokens. So this is good because we know that we have a pretty good data set here to achieve these numbers, even with the flags. We know that we are looking at a pretty decent set of data that we can know that it should remain true or remain more accurate. And the reason it should remain true and remain more accurate is because we've seen over a larger amount of time, this is what it's set to. So we can assume, again, over the next month of time, it's going to be, there's a good chance it can likely look something like this. Whereas if the gentleman only traded 4 times or 10 times or 20 times, we look at the data, and although the data may look good, we know that it could quickly be skewed. But the more trades you have, the quicker, the less easy it is to then drop your win rate by a lot, or drop your ROI by a lot. All right, so here we move into our next visual representation, and for me, I love having the visual representations. So you guys need to know that they just match up. So when you see this part here, it's directing you towards the bottom of here of what they truly mean. So we can see his losses over 50% are quite low. So it's the lowest number that he has here is 4%. So that's actually kind of nice to see, right? So then because we know all losses aren't created equally, I'm not going to understate that enough, because I know that when I put in a soul to a trade and I lose about a soul, it's kind of, a lot more devastating when it's a loss like this and I lose just under 50%, because in that case, instead of losing a full soul, I might have only lost 10%. So I still retain 0.9 of my value, or I lost 20% and I still retain 0.8 of my value. So those losses aren't equal when it comes to losses over 50 and then losses under 50. So we can see the losses under 50, are put at 20%, and more significant than the losses that are under 50, over 50, and that's good to see. Now moving over to our next section, now we're looking at profit section. So this is when the token did under a 2x. So it could have done anywhere between, it made like 10% or it made 98%. Okay. So we look at this, and this is the I would say meat in the potatoes. This is the bulk section of what this trader is having results on. So his results are usually in between that range. So again, he could make you 98% on your trade, or he could make just 1 to 2% on the trade, but likely closer, maybe 10, 20, 30% on the trade. And it's good to have an indication because this is the largest number here. So, this is where most of his trades are falling. Again, quite higher than his losses, under 2x, 3 times higher than that. So that's quite a good number for, we know he's making gains there. Now, losses that are falling between, gains that are falling between 2 to 5x, we have 9%. So this one works out to be quite a bit higher than even his total losses. So he's making some good gains in the field of 15 trades, 9% between 2 to 5x. So that is a great indicator to look at. And not all scalpers, but some scalpers, as we can notify here, can also make trades where they do hit mooners, and when I say mooners, I'm considering the trades that have a rocket emoji on them, which indicate that they are 5%, indicating that they're 5x or more. So we had 8 trades like that falling in the 5%. And, I'm looking at this, but at the same time, I'm looking at this too, because I want to see how that data kind of compares. So there's times where he's losing, over 50%, but the times he actually made 5x on a trade, so 500% or more, is actually quite a bit higher. So we got the 6 trades versus the 8 trades. So that's another good indication for me to look at too. All right, so moving on to the next part of the trade, we want to look at the buys and sells. We're seeing that the buys and sells look pretty good. So when he is buying here, we can tell that he's traditionally, just based on these statistics without looking any further, we can see that he's traditionally selling 1 time, maybe in the odd instance that he would sell 2 times. But we can see that generally based on, the buys being at this amount and the sells not at 261 and the sells not being higher, we know that he's not really scaling out and he's just getting out in 1 trade. All right, now for scalpers, it's definitely important to look at this bottom section if everything else checks out, right? Like if we looked at this top section and we're like, nah, none of this looks good, we don't need to go through and look at the bottom section. It doesn't matter to us because we know none of this really looked like what we were looking for, or the flags were too much in an instance where they may have been, and we just know we can skip through that. But since we did go through it and everything was seeming to be good, we made it down to average time between buy and sell. And right here, we have it represented as 7 minutes and 39 seconds. Now, is this something that we could comfortably trade and get profits from? Absolutely. In the cases of scalpers where we caution that you make sure that you're looking at these buy times, a lot of these instances, these scalpers are trading really quick and they're trading within a minute, and they're trading even less than a minute sometimes. It's 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds between a buy and a trade. And with that, you may not have as much room to make profits. But here we see with 7 minutes, I would say anything over 3 to 5 minutes is getting into the area where it's like, yeah, you know what, we can make profits here. But this is on average 7 minutes. So we know that that looks pretty decent. And again, as far as average buy sum goes, you guys ask about this often, how much average buy sum does it make sense with when you're playing with a little amount. That really is dependent on how they're trading, because if they have a larger buy sum, but they're getting into larger trades and making profits on larger trades, then it still might not be something that has a big price impact when they sell, because there could be, good liquidity. So when they sell, it makes maybe 2 to 10% price impact. So there is a price impact there, but it's not something that's going to totally crush your profits. But looking at this guy, he falls into the range of something I would averagely be looking for. So again, there is some cases where I followed people with 5 plus average buy sum because the way that they were trading still made sense for profits. But in this case, it's 1.86 SOL. That's a pretty good buy sum because it's not something that is huge that he's trading on average. So we know that when he sells, even if he has a very good trade, it's not going to take as much of an impact. Okay. And then, excuse me, we can see the trades down here, what he most recently traded. We could go into those and take a look. When we see them coming up on our bots, when they're not put in the profitable wallets, but say we just posted this contract into our bot, we're also going to see what they did on their most recent trade. So we would be able to see from this guy, like, he's likely going to have a lot of positive here, not only because the representation in the bubbles, but also his win rates. That we're going to see a lot of these trades ended up in a positive. But let's see, when you run it through the scanner, you get that visual representation of, this one did a 2x, this one did a 3x, this one did a 4x, this one did a 5x, or so on. This one took a loss here. So that's all good information to look at. Now, I don't want to just go over everything and tell you exactly what I think before having you guys have a chance to share with me what you think about this wallet, because I already know what I think after going through it, but I don't want to just say it to you to skew maybe what your thoughts were. So if I could have someone just let me know if, based off what we went through, we had a full encompassing idea using the bot, went through everything to get an idea of how this wallet looks, how it's trading, the size of the trading, the holding time, how much money they've made over the month. What do we think about this wallet?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Andy. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, my brother?
Good. I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking.
Wonderful. Got here a little bit late. Was a bit busy. Is this one recorded as well?
Yeah, it's recorded.
Okay, cool. My first question was, are we looking then for wallets that have like, I'm a bit late, so you might have answered it already, but are we trying to look for wallets with as much like daily activity as possible, as much greens in the 30 days as possible? And that was my first question, because some of the wallets that I had, they weren't trading as often, but then I had a cluster of I had a bunch of, like, let's say about 4 people trading for me, copy, like 4 people I chose to copy trade, and combined they obviously would kind of like make up my month, like make up my 30 days, even though they weren't trading every day. Is that the like I assume that's like a plan B, and the plan A would be to try to get as much trading activity like how this wallet is, where you can clearly see he's like trading a lot. Just looking at the 30 day, he's been profitable most of his days. Just looking at that. So what's like the idea on that one?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question to ask, and I'm sure a lot of people have that question themselves because they do have wallets that aren't trading as much as this. Again, we will see typically the most activity out of scalper wallets as they're trading lots not only throughout the month, but they're trading lots throughout the day. Sometimes they can make between, let's say, 5 to 20 transactions a day, 5 to 15 transactions, something in that ballpark. Like, they're making a lot of unique entries into a day. And I wouldn't say that that is always what we're looking for, because it does come down to a strategy point. Because what you said with your guys, let's say I have a guy who trades just once or twice every day. But, some days he takes a day off, and some days he takes 3 days off. But when I'm looking at his statistics here, his statistics are still good. Let's say that guy we'll just stick with this win rate to make it simple, especially for the visual representation here. Say he has a 76% win rate. His ROI, let's crank it up for his ROI. Let's say this guy's more of an alpha trader. It seems like he's trading on stuff that he knows. He's waiting. He's patiently looking for things that he thinks will moon. So let's say his ROI is a little bit higher. Let's crank his ROI to, let's say, 80%. And then, again, we need to make sure that the flags are something that doesn't skew the values too much. So let's say his flags were just in and around these values, which are, pretty decent. It's not like he has no flags, but the flags are pretty minimal. So in this instance, we have a trader who's now trading at 76%. We have a trader who's trading at the ROI of 80, hypothetically. And we have him, instead of trading unique tokens 170 over the course of the month, let's say he was only trading 30 unique tokens. So with this gentleman...
Sorry, one sec, but sorry. So unique tokens is the amount of tokens he has traded in that cycle?
Yeah, the amount of tokens that he's traded, but again, they have to be unique tokens. So if he trades the same token like 5 or 10 times, that's not going to go into that stat.
Okay, so consider unique token then as a different token that he's traded.
Exactly.
Okay, got that. Thanks.
Yeah, so say, again, the unique tokens are going to work out to be around 30. But the statistics now, he still has the same win rate. He still has the same ROI. Let's say his flags actually were in proportion. So like, don't apply these exact same flags. Let's say the flags worked out to be the same percentage, because again, he's trading less tokens. So obviously if we apply this to less tokens, it's going to work out to be more aggressive in terms of the flags. So let's assume his flags were in proportion. But if we take all this into account, and he has great statistics. I mean, technically, he would have better statistics than this guy. Say he was trading with only a soul at a time. Would I say that this is a better wallet to trade because it has more history? In that instance, I wouldn't say so, because although this wallet has more history and we know they're going to trade more, the profits might be even more with this wallet. But with the other wallet that we are putting into question, the other wallet that we're putting into question technically has better statistics. So it's not that this wallet is better always because it has more data set combined to it. We can assume that when something has more data set, it's going to be a little bit more reliable because it takes a little bit more to fluctuate it, right? Like if he took a loss, it's not going to fluctuate his win rate so much because he has so many other wins to account for it. But once we have someone who has, like I said, 30 trades and they take a loss, it is going to affect their win rate quite a bit. So the reason I feel like it's important to go through wallets that are like the wallet we have in question, our hypothetical wallet, and also this wallet here, is because it may be good for our strategy to have guys that you said, you have 3 guys right now, I believe you said, and between all their trades, 4 guys?
Yeah.
Okay, 4 guys. And between all their trades, they work out to trade about like this guy. That's good because you have 4 traders that, if one of them starts having a bad day or starts trading up his trading strategy completely, you still have another 3 traders who are on your books that are going to help mitigate what your profits are going to look like at the end of the day, right? If one guy goes haywire, versus if you just have this one guy and for some reason he decides like, I'm going to switch up my strategy. He's not scalping so much, he's just looking to get in super early, and he's looking for mooners, and he's taking a bunch of losses from switching up the strategy. That's really going to impact you. So I would say it is the best to have good wallets that are performing well, where the profit and the ROI, the win rate, it all works out, the flags are at a minimal, and that you have a variety of these wallets working for you. So I wouldn't say to choose this wallet over the wallets that you have, but I would say that again, I want more opinions on it before I make my final judgment. I want everybody to be able to kind of share what they think this wallet looks like. And Andy, I know I did. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Yeah, you did.
perfect.
The
Perfect.
only other one question I had too was when you talk about the flags, what do you guys consider as okay? So you guys said low flag rating, like low flag percent. At what point are we kind of saying this is not a low flag percent? Like let's say 50%, 25%. Is that pushing it too high? Because what I
Yeah.
have been doing is looking for pretty much flags that are under, to be honest, be like under 15%ish on each, like combined. So let me put it that way. So I was looking for, if a flag comes up, I'm looking for, okay, it might be one flag, but he might be at 15, and then the other flags are at like 6. That might still work for me because of my strategy. So I was just curious to know if you guys there and the team there had a rough like, hey guys, don't look at these flags at these numbers kind of thing, just to help the community maybe break down on some of the stuff that they're looking at, because you do have to put in a fair set of information to come to your conclusion. But if we can have something that kind of says, okay, you know what, if the flags are at like again 30% all across the board or something like that, you might not want to be looking at that.
Yeah, that's a good question to ask as well. So I'm going to use this example because it's getting close to 20% total flags, but I also want.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second, please?
Yes, of course, go for it.
It's just a matter of like my thoughts, and Amiri would tell his thoughts on these things. But you guys, first of all, what you should understand, we are already skipping like a big amount of flags from the dropping that info to the profitable wallet section. We're like dropping any wallet which is below 30% of flags.
Okay,
Why we are doing
yeah,
this?
wonderful.
Because it's like some safe spot for
Yeah,
people to go all the trades and choose some wallets which can be profitable. But
yeah,
I have a guy who is trading, who is copy trading, and he at the moment he is not looking at the wallets which are no, I'm not correct. He is watching the wallets which we are dropping, but he says that in some situation, in some his cases, he like to watch some wallets which have amount of sold tokens more than bought, with a flag over 40 percentage,
right. Okay.
over
Yeah,
40 percentage. And at the moment we are like talking with him why is he is taking these risks on his side
yeah,
to trade such wallets, but he says that's my strategy which I am testing right now. So
right.
at the moment, like we are like make a lot of exclusions. We exclude a lot of wallets which have some strange things happening on their side. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean that you're not able to copy them, or you're not able to make some strategy on them. And
Right.
when you see the wallets on our site in profitable wallet section, and you see like for example 25 percentage or 8 percentage of some flags
Yeah.
appearing, you anyway need to make your own research, go over the trades which the wallet made, and you need to make your own conclusion.
Yeah.
Is this suitable for your trading experience or not? So it's
Yeah.
as I told on the last or previous call, on voice call, it's always some how to call this. Um, it's like well, when you're drawing, you have like your own idea of what you are
Yeah.
drawing, and that doesn't mean that you want to earn money on, or you want to make some benefit from the drawing you are making. And the same goes for the copy trading. When you see a wallet, it doesn't mean that the stats which are showed in the thread or in the bot,
Yeah.
they are like 100 representation of like uh, okay, go mates and copy trade this wallet. But we're still like working on filters, and well, we are recruiting guys which have pretty good experience in DeFi. We have our own practical experience as well, but as well to that, people come to our team which we are recruiting, and they are saying like, okay, you have a lot of good information written down in some useful info, or maybe by videos, or maybe by voice calls, but that's a lot of information which is hard to understand like in the first moment. And when and that guy said, when I came to your private room, that was pretty hard for me. I feel like I need some parameter or some setting which is showing me that this wallet is good for copy trading by for example 90% or
Right.
50% or 70%. And that's the thing which we are working on it. But it's not like easy way, like okay, we'll place just good wallets on our profitable wallet section. It's not such an easy way to do this thing in like a moment. We are working on this thing over 1 year already, and if we can take some wallets for making some profits, we still have to do some research and have to do some manual trades and some manual tests to say that okay, this wallet seems to be good. We made some tests, it showed that this wallet is good still, and when we place more money, it still shows some good results, and this is the way how we make money. But in the form of going global, like to give people one point how to choose the wallet. It's a pretty harsh task to do this, and we're thinking on that. And we want to make like one spot for people who says like, I have for example $10,000 or $1,000. What the wallet should I take? And we say, take this wallet and you will be profitable. We are on this way to make the answer for the people, and make the decisions to be made more easier to take some wallet for copy trading. But at the moment, it's not so easy to do this. and that's why that's why our subscription costs not $5,000, it costs $58. So people had like more data, but they were able to make their own strategy. They were able to make some decisions. They were able to make some thoughts on the wallets and so on. But we are on the way. It was easier for the person who comes to crypto or who comes to copy trade. So it was pretty easy for him to make a decision, what wallet should I take. So I was profitable, at least. So I was able to quit my job. So that's that's our target, and that's what we are working on. And as I said, it's not such an easy way, but you should understand that when you are coming like when you're coming to crypto, there are not a lot of teams which are thinking a lot of what benefits a person which is buying subscription would get, and we are the guys who are mostly thinking on these things. Maybe we lack on some benefits at the moment, but we are trying our best to give the most we can in our current situation, and we are trying to fix our prices. So there was like choose for a person to pay money and get some benefits and over the market, and not to pay and be in the market and lose the money. So that's my idea. And sorry, Amiri.
So far, like I said, what you have provided, it's already made me money. So for me, it's like, it's genius. Like, the subscription costs nothing compared to the returns once you understand the bot. So yeah, so far, like, you're definitely on to something. You're definitely on to the right path. It's made profits for me. Like, I can only speak for myself, and I guess there's a few others that I see posting in the FOMO thing. So clearly it's working. So yeah, I mean, great job. And I mean, like you said, once you're like you said, you're still working to make more solutions, then yeah, I think that will benefit the community a lot. And yeah, we appreciate all your hard work, Serge.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, thanks for allowing me to speak, and I'm happy to be here. I'm actually just new. I started, I just joined. Anyways, what I wanted to say, you guys said something about the developer stuff. I do know programming, and I want to help out. I'm also coming from data analysis as well. So I know how to do programming. I also know how to do, what do you call that? Selenium. So that's one of the ways you can use combination of straight API sockets and even Selenium if you need to be able to get data so you can manipulate them.
Interesting.
Well, just one moment. Thank you. I think that was previous Andy speaking. Andy, thank you for your response and feedback. I really appreciate this, and all our team. I think Amiri is also very grateful for all your things you said. And if we are talking about guys, if you feel like you can give some benefits to the project, and you have some skills, doesn't matter it's programming or maybe interacting with people or maybe placing some websites or any other thing, just come to my DMs, placing some information about yourself. I'm not telling that like we're hiring every person who writes to me, but still I'm like placing some dots on the person that we have some guy who is experienced in some things and so on. And I don't want to like go in front, but we have some ideas. As you have seen, there is information like coming to Gem Inside info. Oh, let me check if we haven't missed the information. 1 second. So we are like going. We have a lot of plans. We have a lot of backend softs going under development on our side. But that's like all the things is a long story, long play. But still, we are thinking to place some possibly good ways to invest in some coins, and possibly in some time we'll be launching our own coins, not some other team coins, because we have like all the things we need for a good launch to be done. Like most of you guys should have heard of Colonizer. Colonizer is like a hub for all the calls made on the DeFi network. It doesn't matter if it's Ethereum, BC network, Solana network, or Ton network, Base network. And that's the guy who was supporting us from the start. We have made a lot of good things to each other services, and we are on a good note on each other. So we have right now thoughts on making like our own network of launches, and yeah, I shouldn't be saying this because that's a good matter that everyone can make benefit from. But you should understand that we are not just like making some services from which we want to make some money by selling some subscriptions. It's not the main idea. We are first of all making services for ourselves and for our team, and we are not hiding like any things, like for example, there are like 400 wallets, and we say, okay, this 100 wallets looks super good, and we'll hide this from the auditory. We are not doing these things. We are just placing all the data, all the information we are getting for ourselves with the filters which we are getting for ourselves, because we are making decisions on these wallets. We are placing some on the copy trading. We are placing some for the manual trading, and we still make some other decisions how to make profit on this market and how to be profitable on DeFi network. So I would offer you guys to come more often to the voice calls, listen to Amiri, because this person is like the first one who will be getting in the information about if we have like some insight info or some private launch and so on. And that's what is going to be talked on the voice calls, as well to the wallets which are profitable or suitable for copy trading. And this is like the first week which we started to make voice calls, and on the next week we will be dropping like to Amiri daily superior wallets, which we as a team look as a ones which you can benefit from. And he will be going over these wallets, and he will be going over the trades, and you will be able to place as fast as you're able to do this on your copy trade bot, and you will be able to make some profits just listening on the voice calls of what is going on. And the next thing is that we are like starting to get much more info on the insider game calls. And the first guy who will be getting this info will be Amiri, and he will be like he will be understanding what is going on the coin. And when there is a voice call, you guys are able to like be in the mood of what is going on the coin. And probably in most of the situations I will be on these calls as well, and we can discuss in real time, is there any potential on the coin, or we need to quit it, and so on. So the main idea right now is like to make all people have some base background, so we were able to talk on one level, and we were able to think on one level, and so we understand each other. If some wallet comes, and you can quickly and fast understand if it's profitable or not, and when the coins, some gem coin comes, you are able to make your own decision. Okay, this coin seems some potential, I am going to enter this coin on some minus 50% level or something like this, and so on. And when there will be growing of the coin, so you are able to be in chat and like share your thoughts of that you are going to leave the coin, or you are going to close some percentage, and so on. So we are trying right now to make our best from giving you information. And it's not all about the copy trading, but the copy trading is like the easiest way how you can enter the crypto with some knowledge from the people who already making profits. It's not the gambling when you just come on the market, you watch the graphs, you watch the name of the coin, you watch some liquidity, market cap, and you in real don't have the idea should you enter the coin or not. The main idea of copy trading is that other people who are profitable are coming into the coin, and they are making decision for you, and you just need to make some little research if this enter was good enough or not for you to enter this coin. So just have a chill, just have a relax, feel yourself comfortable, and just like I don't know how to say this. That's a real that's the real way how you can make money and be chilling. That's the only way, if to be true. So, guys, I'll pass my words to Amiri, and he will probably add something, or we'll continue the conversation. But I hope you all got the idea of what I was trying to like pass you the information or the passion of what's going on.
Yeah, no, that was great. I think a good point that you touched on. I mean, when you go off, like I said, you go off. You went on many points. So, one is that any of the updates that are coming that are going to be useful for you guys, they're going to be passed through me first. And then I'm going to have the opportunity to share with you guys first on voice chat. But if you're not coming to the voice calls, if you're not taking the time to listen to these voice calls, that you can be missing quite valuable information. To summarize, another point that Serge started with is that when it comes to the profitable wallets, he was using this to answer Andy's question. that the profitable wallets that are posted in Zelfi Guru, they are coming in already filtered. The flags, if it was too many flags where he thought, it doesn't look good, and he said 30% and under, they will come through, but 30% and over, they will not come through. So if that was a general distinction that was already made for flags that for wallets that were worth going to profitable traders, that might be a way that you want to use it as well, because I know not every single wallet you get is from profitable traders. I know sometimes you get them from Deck Screener and Outsider Source. Maybe a friend sent you a wallet. But if you want to use that generalized idea that, okay, if it's over 30%, I'm really not going to filter this into my consideration. I think that is a good thing to do. And he answered it pretty fully. So I hope you have an understanding of that as you go through that. When you're looking at the profitable wallets, you know that you're not going to find a wallet that has a crazy amount of flags anyways, because it's already filtered. But when you're looking at wallets yourself, when Andy, you said, is 50% too high, is 25% too high? I mean, 50% definitely I would think is too high, but you also have to look into what's going on. But, me seeing a flag at 50%, I'm likely going to skip it. But if it's at 25%, and say that was only flag, that still falls into the criteria of under 30% flags and might be worth looking at. I hope all that made sense. Did any of you have questions for myself or Serge on any of those points that were brought up? Okay, great. And now I just want to make sure that you guys can all see my screen right now. Is that correct?
Yes,
that you're
yes.
able to the deck screener trades?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Oh, okay, perfect. Like I said, it's going to be take me a little bit to be completely great at swapping between the deck screener and then going to Telegram and all that stuff, but I'm getting a handle on it, so it should be smoothly going forward. So what I did is, when you see profitable wallets, you always see at the bottom the last 10 trades, right? So it's as easy as clicking on one of those trades to get an idea of, okay, so how did they trade on this coin? Because I want to see if there is room for me to make profits. I want to see if it's something that's smart for me to follow. Because although we got the statistics here, and again, what the statistics were for this guy, it was that he was holding on average between one buy and sell. It was 7 minutes and 39 seconds. Okay. But I want to bring up this trade that I just pulled up, and it was just the second trade in. I'm not counting USDC as a trade, and it's for a coin called GMD. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So his first buy, we can see, was made, and we have timestamps. If we just hover over the date here, we actually have the timestamp. So his first buy was made at 5:18. Okay, almost 5:19, but let's just say 5:18. And his first buy was made in the amount of 2.97 SOL. And it's interesting to see that, because we can be like, oh well, we knew this guy's average buy was around 1.6, but we'll see how that works out. Okay, and then we can see his sell, which was the whole amount of what he bought, was at 5:18.49. Okay, so we can see that it was literally within, about just over 10 seconds from when he initially bought. So he bought and then initially got some people buying after him, made a little bit of profit and decided to take that all and sold it in one shot. All right, I'm not going to go over necessarily what I think, but I'm just going to keep on going through these, and then we can go over what we think. All right. So now he's out of tokens completely, but he goes to proceed to make, let's say, a SOL buy at 5:12. And then just a little while later, pretty much 15 seconds later, he goes and makes another SOL buy. That works out to be 5:13. And then 10 seconds later, he makes another SOL buy. All right. So he's up to 3 SOL bought in about 30 seconds now. And then about, what we got there? 17 seconds later, he buys an additional SOL. So that was all in a very quick time span. In about a minute time, he had bought 4 SOL additionally. So that 4 SOL, obviously the 1 SOL at a time, we're going to consider it 1 SOL, equals out to be 4 SOL. And we can see here, by looking at the token amounts, I can roughly add them up to what they're going to be. And we can see he sold all that again. So between his last buy at 513 and then his next sell at 513.33, so again, it was, less than 10 seconds there that he was in profit enough to almost sell double of what he's bought, because again, he bought 4 SOL and he's selling for 7.689. So he almost made a 2x on that. All right, so we'll go through. He's without coins now, right? So he's buying again. So we see 959. So he's buying it now. It looks like 4 hours later, almost 5 hours later. So he's buying again. He's still looking at this coin, keeping it up, seeing if there's an entry for himself. Truly being a scalper, seeing if he can scalp more profits out of that coin. He buys again for 2 SOL at about, let's say, 10 o'clock a.m. And then again at 10 o'clock a.m., he's buying another 2 SOL. So we can see with the buy amounts that he's bought that, he's right in that area to be at 300,000 coins, or 300 million coins, sorry. But he sells that 300 million coins, and again, he bought at 10 o'clock, and then he sold at 10 o'clock as well, just again, about 15 seconds later. So when I analyze this and we go into his sells, it's quite telling, and it's a bit of a different story from what we had gathered from the initial data, right, in this particular trade. So what are things that we can spot now that we have went through his buys and sells with our data? Now we have our data as knowledge. We also have new data as knowledge because we took time to pull up his buys and sells. What are some things that we can make points on, or try to understand from what we see? All right, if no one wants to answer, I'll go through myself. And one thing that I'm seeing here is, like I said, his initial buy, it seems like it's higher than what we're used to seeing with his average buy sum, which was 1.86. We'll consider that 2, just for easy numbers. But then he goes through and makes multiple 0.99 buys, so about 1 SOL buy. So this is totally going to drop his average buy sum, right? Because now he's making smaller buys. And then the buys he makes after that work out to be 1.98. So we can see how that's pretty consistent, meaning that even though we saw him buy larger than normal at the first point, his dollar cost averaging is what is bringing him to his average sum. But the other thing that I wanted to point out is that we did have an average buy time for him that we could see clearly when we were looking at the wallet on Zelfi Guru. And the average buy sum or average buy time for this gentleman was 7 minutes and 39 seconds. And we can see here that he was making buys that were coming in within seconds of each other, 10 seconds or so. I would say on average for this trade, between the buys and the sells, they would have worked out to be 10 seconds. So although we can look at the data and it gives us an average buy sum, or the average sell time, we can go further to look into the data of how he's actually trading. And on this specific trade, he actually traded a lot quicker than what his average buy time would work out to be. In this specific trade, it would be hard to keep up with your bot with these buys and these sells, and it would be hard to keep up to with the ROI that you're going to get in, because although his buy sum is 1.86, it's different when he's doing 1.86 or what I'm looking at here, just a SOL, but that 1.86 now effectively becomes a SOL for the buys that he made in total before his sell. So then he goes to make the sell, and the sell is now, close to 8 SOL. And if at that time the coin doesn't have that much liquidity and there's enough room for him to make profits, there may not be enough room for you to make profits there. So this kind of gives us an insight of, especially on this one trade, and we can look at a couple more to see how he fares out on his additional trades. But I hope this was a good indication for you guys by pulling up the buys that he had on this particular coin, that although it looked really good on paper, when we did a little bit of further digging, it's now starting to look like something that would be pretty difficult to follow for us first, and hard to make profit just based on the way he's trading within just 10-15 seconds time. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
I don't know about the others.
That makes sense.
Get it. All right, good stuff. So for the sake of having more validity, because we looked at one trade and it didn't really match up with his average time, let's check out a different trade. And I don't know if you guys were following along with me, but this trade we just checked out was GMD. The next trade he has is a trade called X. And so we can get an idea. I'm just going to pull up this trade as well. All right, let's see how he fared off on this trade. All right, remember how I told you that if you want to be able to get the time of what he's trading, because we could already see here his entries, and we can see how much he bought, but to get the time, again, you're just going to want to hover over the date. We can see at 6:55, let's say 6:56 p.m., he bought this initial 2.97. So went in with the similar buy sum for his first start that he did the last one. And then we can see just in a minute, he sold. All right, so that was the first trade that he made. Within a minute, he sold on this one. Yeah, it was just over a minute he sold on that one. And within a minute, is it possible to trade? Yeah, it is. Could it be great to trade within that minute? It's really going to depend on his sell amount, but in the price impact that it is going to have. We'll move on to the next trade. Next trade was made at, and again, he emptied it. He didn't keep a moon bag, anything like that. He bought what he bought and he sold what he sold. So after that, he made a trade. So the 14th, he made a trade 2 days later on this coin at 5:20, and then he made another trade at 5:21. Again, buying two SOL between those two trades, and then he added another 2 SOL at also 5:21. Let's see how long he held this for. By 5:22, he is out of this trade. And it was already 5:21:38, so he's out in 20 seconds on this trade, all right? And then let's keep on going, because now again, let me do quick add. Yeah, now again, he's completely out. So between May 16th, now he's buying on a different day again. May 17th at about 10 a.m. 9:58. He buys 1 soul worth. Then he goes on to buy 2 soul worth within the same minute. So now he's up to 3 soul. Now he's up to 4 soul within the same minute. And he sells how quickly after here? 9:58. Yeah, he's literally selling like 14 minutes, 14 seconds after. So again, the indications are pretty much the same. So it shows that, there's going to be trades where he does hold for quite a bit of time, because it's going to boost up his average time between the buy and the sell to get him to the 7 minutes and 39 seconds that we're seeing. But we can see from his last couple trades that these trades just are nearly impossible to follow with how quickly this guy is in and out of trades.
Okay, so then what is the minimum time then, roughly, that we should be, I don't know, looking at or whatever, in order for the bot to be effective at firing off stuff? Like, what's the minimum time we should be looking at if we're going through a deck screener? Or can you give us an example now of if you were looking through a deck screener, like your process of just going through something now where you would say, okay, this is something that could be put into a copy trade?
Yeah, so I would like to see holding time that was closer to the holding time that we were actually seeing based on the statistics that we got from Zelfi Guru. In and around 5 minutes, like in and around at least, 3 minutes is what I would be looking for. I don't want someone who is going to just scalp on a quick dip and then sell like within like 10 seconds as soon as it pumps a little bit. Again, he's having an average of like 3 or 4 soul in there at a time. So if he makes a 40% pump, that's good for him. But when he's selling, there's a good chance that he is taking quite an impact and not really giving time in this instance. But if we looked at his trades and they were within 5 minutes and more, then I would say that is still something that I would be interested to see play out, because I know the bot can keep up with it. The bot can realistically keep up with trades within a minute too, but they have to be closer to a minute. When they get closer to seconds, they get closer to 10, 20 seconds, most bots are going to have a hard time keeping up with it.
Okay, gotcha. So, is there any way of like if we are using Deck Screener to say, let's go through the process of if we popped on there along with if we popped on there, we said, okay, we've seen something that we'd like to sell, we popped on Deck Screener, the trade is about 1 minute apart, or the buy sells are 1 minute apart. That is probably a better candidate and should be on your short list kind of thing.
Yeah, in that case, that would be worth testing if everything else made sense. If the profit made sense, the ROI made sense, and the win rate made sense, and there wasn't many flags, and they're trading within a minute or so. Hopefully it's a bit over a minute, but again, even if it falls in that minute, it's worth testing for the copy trade, because it will likely keep up with that. And right. if it doesn't, right away that okay, this is just a guy that's not worth me following. But thank goodness you only tested it with a couple dollars or so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to a token that's a little bit different. I mean, we could go ahead and analyze all this guy's trades and stuff, but I don't think that would be as beneficial because, you know, we just went through 2 trades and they were pretty similar. So we have a pretty good idea of how he's been trading, at least recently. So for the sake of time, I think it's better to move on and see what other interesting coins we can find from yesterday's pull in the profitable wallets here. So I'm just going to switch up my screen. Hopefully I have an easy time with it this time. We're back to Telegram. Oh man, see, I'm getting in flow. Let's go. All right. I just maximized my screen. You guys can still see it the same?
Yeah, we can still see your screen.
Okay, and it's on profitable wallets?
Yeah, correct.
Perfect. All right. There's some I'm going to skip through because it's similar to what we've already been looking at. And I want to find something interesting for us to look at. If it's good, if it's bad, I just want it to be a little bit interesting. And if you guys see one as we go and you're like, you know what, I would like you to kind of dissect that one. I've been looking at ones that look like this, and I want you to kind of give me your thoughts on this. Let me know. I'm not going to really do something with this low of a data set just because how many tokens did he even have here? Unique tokens 4. I look at these things on my own sometimes just because, like, you know, you can find a gem in something that does have a low data set, but for the sake of like teaching and the sake of time, we're not gonna really bother with that at the moment. I went through a lower data set yesterday.
Miri, can I maybe tell you my strategy about finding a wallet that maybe helps other ones, and you can tell me if it's useful or not?
Yeah, I would love if you did that.
Yeah, okay. So it's like I'm looking at the ROI at first and the win rate. That is the first things, and then I look at the last part where I see like the last 10 trades, and when I see like only 1.4% profit or lower, then I'm like, no, I don't want it, because most of the time the bot is not getting so fast like he did, so I lost money. So, and I look how long the time is where he stays in the coin, you know?
Yeah, so no, I think that's an overall pretty good strategy. As I'm going through this with you, I just go through it from the top. I mean, like the visual representation, you know, isn't all telling, but it's nice to see. But like then we quickly go into what you were saying you like to look at, which is the ROI and win rate. But I really think you shouldn't ever discount like the profit, because like the profit they're making over the 30 days gives you a good indication that if this is a good copy wallet, like how much can I really make with it if I'm trading half a bit size, or if I decide to trade full of bit size. So I would keep profit in top of mind as an indicator too, because the profit is just as important as the ROI and win rate in ways. As far as you said about the buy time, I want this lesson of, you know, this is the first time we open up trades in one of the video calls and saw how their trades really were, right? And we just looked at this last guy's trade and we saw his average buy time was around 8 minutes. But then when we went to his last 2 trades, we saw his average buy and sell time actually was like closer to 10 to 20 seconds. So it was very different based on his last few trades. And that's another thing that we talk about, is that past performance doesn't always equal future performance. And that's why we have averages here. But these averages can be really skewed if the trader finds a new way that they prefer to trade. Like say this guy was holding before, the last guy we were looking at, the scalper, and on average it was 8 minutes or even longer. But now he's turned out his strategy, and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to buy dips and get out quick. He has a lot of data time, meaning that 30 days ago or even 25 days ago, 10, 15 days ago, he may have been doing a complete different strategy where he was holding for a longer time to scalp his profits. But we can see just, by looking at the most recent trades that he completely changed up the strategy. So I hope what you pulled away from that is when you're telling me your strategy and you're like, you look at the average sell between buy time, is that you make that time to look at the tokens, like you said, and you said, okay, I look at what they've done, if they've done like a 2x, whatever. But you also look into at least a few of those tokens, right? To pull up and see like how it actually performed. Was he getting good entries? Was he selling at a good point? And when he sold, if there was some price impact, was he selling at a good point enough where I still would have got a good sell off? So I hope that becomes a lesson that when you're doing deep research, when you have done all the other easy research, the research that's right in front of you. I mean, I'm not saying that this research isn't right in front of you, because it is, even more so when you pull it out of the bot and it gives you like ideas on the statistics. But if you truly want to see how that trader was trading based on the entries and the exits, you got to click in. And as soon as you click in, it brings you right to the deck screener with his profile. So it only shows his buys and sells.
Yeah, I got
Okay,
you.
so can you just once again maybe just so I wrap my head around it, like from just a start to finish, just from in this profitable wallet out to deck screener, pop it up, see the buys and sells, and maybe be able to like go as far as to copy the wallet, just so that like it's just a for visual sake for us a step by step thing that we
Yeah.
can follow through with. Just
Yeah.
as an example, you don't have to, and maybe even put it into the bot, just so that we kind of got a full like, okay, this is, you start with the bot, you pull it from the bot, you put it in deck screener, you check the trades, you go to soul scan, then from soul scan you go to, you know what I mean? Just maybe a full like, just a kind of a bit of a like a start to finish walkthrough, so that we
Yeah,
have
that
it here
wouldn't be
to wrap
that
it
wouldn't
back
be
to.
that wouldn't be a problem. So you want me to essentially grab a token, paste it into the bot, and show you how I get to all that information, and then bring it to deck screener so you can see how you would look at the buys and the sells, right?
Yeah, and then like, well, it's that kind of like a full circle, and then actually put it into the like Trojan at the end kind of thing, where you don't have to fire it off or anything. It's just so we have like a full. What I was saying is just so the community has like a full like start to finish. Like I found it on the profitable wallets. I looked at it on deck screener. I liked what it looked like. For example, just roughly saying that you pulled up one that you like. You put it in Soul Scan. You got the address, and then you put it in the bot, the Trojan bot or whatever, to copy and start trading them. Just because there was a few steps maybe that we might have been missing, or I might have been missing. So I just was saying, if you could
Are
give
you
like a full,
just to clarify, are you wishing that I do this with a token from deck screener, or a token a wallet from deck screener, or a wallet that I found through the profitable wallets?
That's what I'm saying. There would have been two examples, so both if possible.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let me go for it. I'm just
right.
gonna take this. No, I'm just gonna take this wallet that I found right here, and I'm gonna do it with this. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm looking at right now, right?
You're looking at profitable wallets still, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I'll do it with the profitable wallets and show you how that works. So again, let's say we went through this token. We looked at their profit, their ROI, their win rate, and it was all pretty decent. And here, for the amount that they have been trading, it actually is pretty decent. The sold more tokens than bought only happened one time, even though it's a larger percentage, just because of the lack of data. I can see here he's hit a mooner. He's never done a trade that lost more than 50%. He only has one trade that was under 50%. And yeah, so his win rate's pretty good. All right, so now I'm just going to click into Croc, and you're going to give me a second, because although I clicked into there, it's not going to pull it up on your screen right away. I have to now broadcast this screen. So here we go. All right, so now this is where that led us. All right, now we're able to see the chart pretty good. We're able to get a good indication of where his buy came through and where his sell came through. Again, I told you it's good if you're looking for wallets that you might want to look at the time differential between when they bought and sold. So you're going to hover just over the date area, and then you're going to hover over the date area again for the sell. So 41, so 541, and then he sold at 853. So he held for around 3 hours there. So that is obviously something that we know that we can copy. On this specific trade, he made 2.26. It looked like when he sold with enough time to allow us to get a sell off as well. There wasn't a lot of profits on that trade. There was about 10% profits on that trade. So there wasn't crazy profits on that trade, but at least you know how to do that. So that's what you were asking for in that instance, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
the next part would
perfect.
Be, like how would
Dex
we get
screener
into
example,
the
right?
profit? Yeah. No, this part so far, and then, like I was saying, from this part, no, we like him. We like him. Let's say we wanted to copy him. What's the next steps? Now we go to the soul scan, get his address, and somehow manage to get it into the box. That was the next part I wanted to do.
All right, so hopefully this opens up good for you.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
This is just showing his trade. Let me see. Signer should be him, but let's see if there's another way that I can pull that up. No, that's him there. Okay, so I want to show it in the easiest way possible. I just wanted to make sure it was the correct information I can see. We could see that his ID ends in JID, or just ID. You can take the last two. And we can also see when I went to press, and I'll do it again, I just went to press that button beside TXN. And then I was able to now copy his address from Signer there. And now you want me to show you how to put it into the bot? Are you still there?
Connected.
Okay, you guys want me to show you how to put it in the bot?
Interject just for a second. Yeah, I think we would like to see it put in the bot, and also perhaps some settings that you could recommend to us that you have success with.
Okay, sure. All right, so let me open up my Telegram now. Again, every time I switch pages, it's going to be a little bit of time for me to then get it over to my Telegram, but now you guys should be seeing my Telegram. All right, so let me pull up Trojan. again, whenever you guys are using Trojan, mine already says that I'm on a backup. You can see it doesn't just say Trojan on Solana, it says Menelus. But you guys want to do backup, and all of you should be on a backup bot. When it comes up, it's going to come up with reds, greens, and yellow. You want to be on a green server. These are the servers that have the lightest load right now. Sometimes you can have transactions skip. You can have some transactions just not go through as fast because you're using a server with such a heavy load. So I think this is an important thing for me to point out here, that all of you guys should be on a backup bot. And, you know, sometimes like multiple times throughout the day, after like 3-4 hours goes by, you want to make sure your bot is still a red one, because they switch, right? People come to, or still a green one, because people will come to a green one, and then everyone's starting to go to this green one, and then it ends up turning yellow and then red. So you want to make sure that you're on a quicker bot, and it takes a little bit of, you know, just being mindful and checking to make sure of that, but that's important. Okay, so let's say I was going to add this guy to copy trade. I'm going to go straight to copy trade. It's right there. I already got my boy Greg in there, but Greg needs a friend. So we have the tag. And as for the tag, just make it something so it stands out from your other ones. I'll make this one microphone, just because I'm looking at my microphone. Easy enough. Target wallet is the next section. You're just going to paste the wallet. That's the same wallet that we got over there from SoulScan. Buy percentage. Let's say I just want to go in with 50% of his buy. You got to remember that you have to do 50 and then you do percent. If you do 50 and then you do just enter, it's going to enter it as a SOL amount. If you don't have 50 SOL in your balance, then it's not going to copy. If you do have 50 SOL in your balance, you're going to really pump that token if it's a low cap. So make sure you're putting that in percent. Copy sells, yes or no. I generally have copy sells on. There's going to be instances when you have some traders where you really like their entries, but you really hate their exits. So if it was a case where you hate their exits, let's say I don't like Microphone's exits, I'm going to turn it off. All right. And then going into buy gas, depending on the amount that you are trading with, you want to change up your gas, and depending on how quickly your traders are getting in and whatnot. But for me, what I'm using right now, just so you guys know, is the number that I just typed in, which is 0.0015. I was using 0.25 just weeks prior, and it's not like it worked out poorly for me. It's just I had a friend who was coming in and they were using 0.15. I was using 0.0025 and they were getting better entries. So I'm like, I'm not going to waste my money just to possibly once in a while get a better entry than him if he's like pretty consistently getting better entries with me with lower gas. But a lot of you guys might not be in the position to want to do gas that's that high because it doesn't make sense with your profit, with your initial buy, and would ultimately strip away from your profit. So this is what I would really recommend if you want to have gas that is still fairly high, and Trojan considers this high gas. It's one of their like prereq settings, but it's not going to be something that is going to be overly costly for you. Some people do lower, but I mean, for myself as a trader, copy trader, I don't think I would go much lower than this because it's just what's worked for me well in the past, and I really haven't tested much lower, and it's not too expensive for how much I'm trading. So I'm going to enter that into gas, 0.00075. And then...
I need to cut you off there. Sorry for that. I have a question, because yesterday you told us that they actually take the gas what you set in your settings. So what of those both are true? Because now you are setting your own gas in the transaction right now, but if you do the trade, will it pick this gas, or will it pick the gas you set on your settings?
That's a good thing to bring up. I just did it because obviously it's an amount that they have in here, and in theory, should it work? Like, of course, it should work. You should be able to enter your buy gas, and you should be able to enter your sell gas without any problem, right? For individual traders. So I was doing it more of an example of filling this out. I always put it in anyways, whatever gas that I'm going to use, just in case it's ever working for them again, and they make that switch where the buy gas does work independently. But no, you're right. I'll show you where that you're supposed to enter your gas. That should apply to all your trades.
All right.
So slippage. A lot of times I am using 80% slippage. Now, a lot of people are worried sometimes about using high slippage. We've talked about this many times. Has there been times where it screwed me over? Maybe. How many times does that happen? I think now twice. The other day, I think I got top candled because of my slippage. But I still didn't even end up too bad on the trade. So it was like, yeah, it kind of screwed me over, but it didn't screw me over to the point where I got mabbed out of most of my things. So in my experience, using the 80% slippage usually fare out okay. I've only had 2 instances when I was kind of worried if something happened there, but that's 2 instances out of thousands of trades. So you're better off using high slippage and getting into a trade if it's going to be a profitable trade than you are trying to keep your slippage low, thinking it's going to save you money. All right, so at this point in time, we're just going to press add. Now it has added to my traders. You can see that I got my boy Greg, number 1, and then I got my recent add microphone. Back to that gentleman's point. In terms of gas that you want to set for the gas that's going to be automatically applied around board, because for some reason Trojan's gas doesn't actually work with how you set it with the copy traders. So let me see here. All right, so let's say you did turbo. It's not telling me right here what turbo is, but turbo is 0.00075 as far as I'm concerned. But I
so you click and you can see it.
Oh yeah, it's 0.0075, right? For turbo, they consider fast 0.0015. So if you're really trading with a low amount, I wouldn't consider going lower than their recommendation for fast when you're copy trading. But if you want it to be a little bit quicker, I've used turbo before. It was fine. I decided to opt when I was moving up to bigger amounts. So just be mindful of that. But let's just say I will set here 0.00 because I went to custom. And I always like to go to custom because I know that's what I set. I can adjust it, whatever, but I'm going to put my custom at the same as what turbo would be, but you can see it selected that I'm using my custom here at 0.0075. And as far as settings goes, those are the main settings that you need to set up. Doing things like stop losses, we talked about that yesterday. I'm not a huge fan of stop losses because in so many of these trades that I get into, I can dip under 50%, and that would have been what I would have set my stop loss to, right? I would have set it to, if it goes under 50% of the value, just cut the trade off. But I've had trades that dip under 50%, and then they go up to do a 400x or whatever they go up to do, and I'm really happy in those instances that I don't have a stop loss. But
is it best just not to? Is it best just not to put a stop loss when we do the copy trade? And maybe, I guess, a best practice would be, for lack of a better term, just keep the amount of sold in a separate wallet that you got your bot hooked up to to pretty much be like, okay, if all of it goes, all of it goes kind of thing. It's almost like the wallet will be your stop loss.
I mean, the thing is, there's going to
Because
be times where you do hit like you can even have your traders hit rugs. I had a pretty large amount of rugs hit yesterday by my traders, and I had to take the time to go back and see if they were still, maintaining good win rate and ROI and all that stuff. So I was still good to follow them. But yesterday was, a little bit rough for some of the traders that were hitting rugs that usually don't. But I just assume that, if they got their rugs hit, that in the future going forward, they're not going to hit so many rugs. But yeah, I mean, stop loss is just like one of those things that you could stop it at any time, and you might stop it at a better point than the stop loss. But if you do stop it at any time, there's also the chance, and this happens to tokens all the time, they come back and you lost out on a lot of gains because you had a stop loss.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. I was just trying to say if there was, like, I'm just trying to think out loud of if there may be a way for people to somewhat like just protect their capital up to their maximum loss without using a stop loss. And I was just trying to think maybe that's the way of doing it, because if we're going to be trading with the bot, and like you said, the drawdown sometimes is 50%. Like I've seen 50%, 55% drawdown as well. And to your point, I don't use a stop loss either, but to your point, I've had like a 55, 56% drawdown, and the coin turn around and produce me like 8x. So I'm just trying to come up with ways of maybe having like it's almost like a little blueprint for the people on the call or whatever, to maybe be like, okay, if I don't trade with a stop loss, maybe I just trade out of this specific wallet and put my, when I said I say my maximum loss, like let's say my maximum loss for the day was 3 SOL. All I'm gonna put in that wallet for the day is 3 SOL, and technically,
Okay, I hear what you're saying now. So it's like
technically that will be
making
my stop loss.
it's like making an all-encompassing loss. So it's like,
Yeah,
if
correct.
if I'm willing to only lose this amount, this is the amount
Yeah.
that I'm going to put in my wallet. And if I
Exactly.
lose that amount, I'm going to do some restructuring, figure out what's
Yeah.
going on, make a new plan, and then fund my wallet again.
Absolutely
with what I
correct.
put to the
Yeah.
side. Yeah, I agree with that. I maybe should sometimes even put less than I do, because I keep quite a bit of SOL in my wallets, because some of my traders like to make a lot of buys, and some days it's just like, it's mostly the morning times. Like the morning times I either wake up to very good or very bad. And maybe if I didn't have so much in my SOL balance and I kept it like that, it's like at least if I wake up, I know I'm only going to be down so much.
Correct.
And
Exactly.
then I can kind of reanalyze my traders like I did this morning, and then just fuel my wallet again.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Like, well, that's how I do it. But like I said, again, I'm just sharing because all of us are community and we're trying to bounce ideas off each other. But I was just thinking, like, you know what? That's a good way of mitigating loss, because, like you said, you can wake up tomorrow and you already know how much your max loss would be, so you don't have to be worried, or you don't have to be like, it's just an easier way of controlling your SOL. You plug in your SOL, and like you said, if you're going to go to bed or whatever, you can't monitor. Because I will sit down and I'll have my bot on, and I'm adding my traders. I'm constantly looking for traders, which is a best practice. And I can monitor like the trades, or I can monitor my wallet like visually what's happening. But then when I go to bed, or when I've decided that I'm not going to be able to do that, literally I will move my funds, my bigger set of funds, out of that wallet and keep, like, say, just a certain amount, just so that if overnight anything stupid happens, when I wake up the next morning, I know that that's within my max loss.
Yeah, it's best practice too. I totally agree with everything you said. Like I'm right on board with it. It's a smart idea. But I also want to make the point too that when you are connecting your wallet to another bot, such as Trojan, such as Soul Trading bot, there's so many sometimes bots that we import our wallets to, right? And personally, I think it's best practice to open up a new Phantom wallet or open up a new wallet of whatever chain you're using, whatever wallet you want to use, and never connect that wallet to anything. Best practice is to actually get yourself a Ledger or a Trezor, a hardware wallet that will never be connected to any apps. There's no worries for exploits. When you need to send money from it, you actually need to enter in a code after before that transaction is made. And that's because I feel safe using Trojan. And that's why I recommend it to my friends. That's why I use it myself. I keep large amount of souls on there sometimes. But when my soul amount starts getting too large to the point where it's like, if anything was a breach right now, like this would be a heavy hit to me, I just move things over to what I call my bank. It's my crypto bank. It doesn't touch anything. Money just goes into it. I try to not pull money out. If I do pull money out, it's just to fund an account, but it doesn't touch any weird sites or anything like that.
Yeah, okay, correct. Yeah, that's a good idea too. That's true. So,
I can hardly hear you right now, Andy. Are you outside?
Nope.
Pardon?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Not the best, but I can hear you a little bit better. You're a little bit louder, at least.
Okay, I'm just prepared actually. But yeah, I was saying that you can just continue with what you were showing us. Yeah, I just let people know that was a way of mitigating risk.
Yeah, okay. So let me show you just the way I would do that if it was coming from Deck Screener, because you wanted both examples. You wanted both the example of how I pull up from the profitable wallets, but also Deck Screener. So I'm going to do the Deck Screener portion of that now. And then we're pretty much going to end the call there. I felt like we went over what I wanted to today. If there's any more questions before we end, of course, we can go over those. But here I'm sharing the Deck Screener now, and let's say I'm at Top Traders because this is what we would normally go to, right? So you just go down straight to Top Traders section. I already went for some other ones previously. So I'm going to just... You saw what I did there. I went to the trader. I went again right beside that EXP and pressed the arrow. That's able to get me the account that I want, which is going to be right at the top here. So I'm going to copy this. And instead of putting it in the copy trader, because I just showed you guys how to do that, I'm just going to run this through Zelfy GuruBot. So let me change up my screen now, and we should be at Telegram again. And I'm just going to paste this wallet I saw there to the bot. And, this is what I'm doing when I am on Deck Screener. I'm not going straight to finding a wallet and putting it into my bot anyways. I'm going to find a wallet. And again, I told you guys, I like to make a list. I go to Google Docs and I just smash them out. So I'll go back and I check this one. Okay, perfect. I'm going to check this one too. So I go here, grab the address the same way I did before, copy that address. I put it into a Google Doc sheet. That way I have maybe out of the 100, because there's only 100 that get showed in those top traders, that I might have 30 to check, and that's 30 to run through Zelfy GuruBot. But for this instance, we're only running one. And this wallet's not incredibly interesting, but Still something to look at. We'll look at this one just because this is another one that I pulled off of Deck Screener. It wasn't from the profitable wallets. So we can see visual representation doesn't look pretty impressive. We can see that there's a pretty big loss days, but we can see that there was a really decent win day. And then we also can see there was another okay win day. Win rate's pretty high. ROI is very low. Profit on 30 days for the amount they've been trading. Where are they trading here? Let's see. Unique tokens, six tokens. Yeah. So, but the flags are just massive. I mean, 50%, 67%, 50%. Yeah, like, isn't something I'd bother too much time looking at. When flags are in and around, like that 30-20% mark, it's like, yeah, I'm still gonna look into it. It could be a good wallet. Like these flags can be anomalies and all that, but in this instance, not very great. But yeah, so you saw how I grabbed a wallet from Deck Screener now, and it would be the same if, you check this wallet out, it's good, you already have it in your paste, right? Because that's the last thing I copied. You already have it in your paste. So you just go back, you go to your Trojan bot. As soon as you see copy trade, you should know what to do from here, because we've done it now. We go to new.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because repetitiveness, can help. I'm doing the wrong thing right now. So I'll give him name. No good, man. All right. Quickly get the address in there. Buy percentage. Let's say I would do 100% of his. Copy, sell, sure. My buy gas, I already had it set, but again, I had it set in my main, so I know that's going to apply. Slippage is at 15. That's a little bit low for me. Again, I fall in between the range of 70 and 80, so let's see if this guy works at 70. Oh, I missed a step there. So when I go back to new, it will auto-populate because I didn't finish it. And to finish it, you have to press add. If you don't press add, it's not going to add that to your roster there. Okay, but now you see I press add, and it is all there. All right, so
Good.
it is officially the weekend, which I'm pretty pumped about. I have a little bit less responsibilities on the weekend than I do during the traditional week. So ready to enjoy for us in Canada here. It's a
Long weekend, buddy, in Canada.
Yeah, dude. I'm trying to pull up and do some fireworks somewhere. So I'll see how that works out.
Nice. So I appreciate your time again, my brother. You enjoy your long weekend. I'm on my way up to the family in-laws chill. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy your long weekend as well.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for always coming and supporting. Really appreciate it. But before closing, I just want to make sure that I had answered everyone's questions. So if you do have a question, here's your chance to bring it up. And if not, think about some questions as you go through some of the things we learned today, as you go through maybe listening to some of the voice chats you missed, and think about some questions to bring to our next voice chat. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys.
I didn't saw what you put in slippage when you set the bot.
I did. I did 80% on the first one and 70% on the second one.
Do you always go that high on slippage? And what you prefer to a beginner? Like
traditionally, yes. I just set to about 70 or 80, and I've never really had problems with it. I've always been profitable doing it as long as the wallet's good. So it works for me. And a lot of people are messaging us and messaging in the group chat, and they're showing that their transaction failed. And it's always it's mostly always the same reason. It's because their slippage is too low. And if your transaction was a guy who just did a 6x and you failed because you only put a 40% slippage, you missed out on at least, like a 3x on that trade or so. So I do encourage to have higher slippage, because you have to realize that just because you set your slippage at 70 or 80, that doesn't mean it is going to use 70% or 80. In most cases, it does not. In most cases, it's going to use closer to 20, 30%, 40%, whatever it needs to get in, as close to your buyer as you can. So, yeah, I personally use high slippage. I think a lot of copy traders do use higher slippage because it's necessarily a lot of times to get into transactions.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem. Again, I'll ask one more time if there's any more questions before closing out, and just want to say that I appreciate you guys who come out, interact, listen, ask questions. It makes it a lot easier for me to do my job. I'm happy that there's people who seem to be getting value out of this. And yeah, it's just been a great experience so far. And with the updates that are coming up from the development team, I'm just so excited to be able to have even more and more things to share with you guys, and more things that we need to practice and work on so we can become the best copy traders we can, so we can go into this bull. And like I say, it's coming soon, and we want to be prepared so we can capitalize on that.
Yeah, thanks very much, brother. Appreciate everything that you do. And I'm going to just hop off the call as well now, too. So for everybody else, enjoy your day. And Amari, enjoy your long weekend, too, my brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. It's okay. We'll talk soon, guys. Thanks again, and have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy.
You too, mate.
Thanks.